After a lot of waiting, the time has finally arrived when the building work on the property has now started. As you can see, they've started work on the barracks, which is very important. That's where the guys sleep at night, and that's where they keep all the materials. There's been quite a lot of rain around recently, so we're quite glad for this to happen. As you can see, it's all a bit wet. This is walking in from our driveway from the other way, and walking down where maybe our driveway is going to be, with our pineapples on the right hand side. There's the completed barracks just on the background on the left, and the left you can see they've marked out where the building is going to go. As you can hear, the ground is really quite wet, and I'm squelching all the way down here, but luckily the ground drains really well. There's only a little bit of water around. There you can see the full mark out of the house part of our build. The area they've marked out is about 20 metres by 10 metres. The actual building is 18 metres by 8 metres, which is 144 square metres, and of that 24 is a veranda at the front, so the actual building size is 120 square metres. And you can't quite see it very clearly, but they've actually marked out where the string lines are. They've actually marked out where the columns are going to go. There's 18 columns in total, three lines of 6. And because of the area we live in, we've basically requested that the house is going to be bulletproof in terms of typhoons that come through, and potential for earthquakes as well, although we've never had one since we've been there. But certainly typhoons, absolutely. So the house is going to be fairly solid, quite a bit more solid than normal. And as you can see, here comes one right now. When it rains, it really rains here. We are up in the mountains a little bit, but fully surrounded by coconut trees and whatnot. And this is all in the first week. As you can see, the drains around the barracks area is getting a workout. And just the front there, you can see they've started bending the rebar. Basically, the structure of the house is basically a full rebar cage covered in concrete. You can start to see how they've dug the holes. The holes are you can't tell by the video, but they're about 1 metre cubed. Actually, probably a bit deeper than that. The supplies coming. Our sand's actually imported from down south. It's actually a black sand, which is apparently better for building. All the builders up here use the black sand from down south. And there's the boss lady coming across. But it's good to see some action in our first week. Here's a close look. I can't get too close. It's actually quite soft where they've dug the holes out. But basically 1 metre cubed, and there's 18 of them as we go. We'll go up here. And this view never gets old. This is basically going to be the view from the veranda. The sun sets out just to the right a little bit, and that's going to be our front yard view. Absolutely beautiful. I'm sort of standing right in front of the house where the veranda's going to go. Right in here. Here's a view of these are the pads that are going to go in the bottom of those holes. They're about 1 metre square, and all the rebars all cut. Well, it's a machine that cuts them, but it's all bent and tied by hand. So there's 18 of those. There's all the rebar there, and we'll go and have a look at one. Now here's the columns. So there's going to be 18 of these columns, so they basically, you can see there, it's all going to be tied into the bottom of the holes, and those big plates you saw. So it's part of the steel cage that's going to be holding everything together. And again, that view, beautiful view. The foreman, keep an eye on everything. We have elected to, we've hired an engineer who's putting all this together for us, so we've had very detailed plans done up, getting a building permit, been through all that process, and we've got a foreman on site pretty much all the time, and the engineer pops in fairly regularly as well. So here you can see there's a load of the big rocks at the bottom, covered by that big square base plate, and then the columns all tied in, and there's 18 of those holding it all together. And given how deep they are and how concrete they are, they're going to be pretty solid, I think. And you can see most of the columns are up now. They're just about ready to start cementing. We just had a bit of a delay, we couldn't find a chicken. Yes, we had to wait for a chicken, just because there needs to be a special kind of chicken, a white chicken, and there's a bit of chicken blood splattered down there, so we just had to wait for that. And I didn't film that. Here we go, so all tied in, ready to be cement mixed and concrete set. Bit of a view inside the barracks. It's a few of the bags of concrete, or cement rather, just waiting, staying out of the rain. And they're just starting to mix them by hand at the moment. There is a mixer coming, but it's not here yet. It's in this strong base mix by hand. Really hard work, and I'm glad I'm doing. And it's raining. And over there, more. You can hear there's more rebar getting cut in the background. Rebar's getting bent. Over here, there's a lot of things happening. You can see a bit of water on the ground where it's been raining. Actually drains away quite well on the property, but as you'll see later how much the house is actually built up. There's just the black sand, a few different sizing of rocks there. And just coming down the driveway again. As you can see, columns are in place. Everything's looking like it should be. Like I think it should be. inside the hole, you can see. Look at the hole. There we go. So we've got the cement drying, column in place. There's the 3 on the end. There's the next 3. So you can see where they've been mixing in the centre there. But looks like all the bases of the columns are all nicely concreted in place. And that looks like a pretty high column, but that's because we've got very high roofs. And I'll go through the plans a bit later, but yeah, we don't have standard roofs. We've got high roof because it just will help keep the place cool. And I've just boxed the start of the column there. It's all in all pretty good progress for week 1, I would think. Like I said, I'm not a builder, which is why we hired one. But all looks pretty solid. And when you see how much rebar they've gone through, yeah, it's a solid build. So that's week 1. So keep an eye out for the next few weeks. They'll be coming fairly quickly, I hope, as we catch up, and we'll see you soon.